Yeah, we tuned back into Pwani Viungo. So Nomadic Rasta sent some questions for the brethren Micah Shemaiah. So the first one is, rooted in the 12 tribe of Israel house of Rastafari, how has this spiritual liberty affected your music and life journey in general?
Well, everybody has an environment that they're born in. You know what I mean? Some people are born in the Muslim faith, the Christian faith. I was born in Rastafari. You know what I mean? So it defines me in every sense. What is really the good thing about it is that I was able to learn more as I grew, and then the faith became stronger inside me instead of getting weaker. Because for some it does, you know. I have brethren that has happened to them. So it is who I am, and I mean it has given me everything I see to know and trust, and that is a big part of, for me, reality in the world and living through a very real eye. I have to know and trust. So it gives me that basis where I can know and trust something and trust people and discern spirits of people. So that now I translate into the lyrics so that I can also, help people to see what I see. And then also, because of this brought up, say, of the 12 tribe, and how I was brought up, it gives me like I'm in a perpetual state of introspection, always, you know what I mean? So that comes out in the songs. So the songs that people hear is really a lot of introspection, really. So the culture, the way of thinking, the spiritual views is really, what people hear in the music is from a way of life that I adapted, from my parents and my brethren and sisters around me, and the teachings of His Imperial Majesty, and the whole biblical lineage of the Davidic monarchy. So it's coming from far, Yeah.
So it's a different charge when you're like born into Rastafari versus many of I who come out of Christian homes and Muslim homes or atheist homes. And sometimes I feel like the youths who are born in Rastafari, especially in the Western civilization, like in New York, especially from my experience, they come up and they want to run from it because it's so different from what's around them. And in Jamaica, do you have that same type of thing going on, or is it be more because we're in Western societies that the influence is heavier?
In Jamaica, you have the same thing, but I would say in a different perspective. Because in Jamaica, Rastafari is something that is bottled and sold, so a lot of it is now seen as an instrument to garner riches or to get more prosperity in an otherwise very struggling life. You know what I mean? So it's a perspective thing, But in Jamaica, people use what is in front of them to advance. So the culture. That's why Jamaica is such a special culture, because it's not a people that sits around. They use whatever it is. So it's not a love or hate thing for them. You know what I mean? It's just we are put into this place. We need to apply this, whatever is there. If it's mangoes that's on my tree and only mangoes, then that's what I'm gonna sell at the front of the road, and that's what's gonna sell my kids to school. So Rastafari is similar to that for the main Jamaican, or as you say, the normal Jamaican citizen, who would look at it not as a spiritual thing, but yo, this can work. This can be something where we
You
can.
make some money.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's, as I say, it's perspective still.
So, one more question from Nomadic Rasta. What is most alive in you as you tried on the motherland?
I don't know. I think in 2012, I did a tour with the Bad Friday documentary from Jamaica, which was about the Coral Gardens thing. And we went to Cape Town, in a shanty town in a village with Mama B, and she's passed now. Big up
Big up to
Mama B,
Langa, Ikapa.
and the great Mama B. And what I witnessed was, because when I grew up in 12 Tribe, people I used to wear my banner. We used to wear banners to meetings, and so even though we never had locks, people could identify us immediately as Rasta, you know. So when we used to walk to meetings and stuff, like even when it was raining, people used to like drive past and splash us. And then when they passed, they're like, dirty Rasta, and, you know what I mean? So it was rough, you know what I mean? And me as a kid, I was like, yo, why do I have to live this way? My friends don't live this way. Why did my parents choose this way, you know what I mean? So when I went to South Africa at that point, I saw almost the exact same type of struggle. They were going through the same thing, you know what I mean? They were getting beat up by the police, basically being ostracized by their communities. So, you know, and then going into they had this big hall, like a place that they do community.
Marcus Garvey Center.
Yes, and they perform and stuff like that. And they had this ritualistic kind of performance in there, which I was like, I mean, I never cried like that before for anything. So, and the spirit, there was something that happened there, which was very, it's almost, you can't, it's not, I can really explain stuff because, you know, but I can't explain that. And that is what, from that time till now, I mean, I've always learned of Africa through my parents, but that is what still maintains, there's a fire inside of me now from that point to just, you know, just be African and not just be, you know, of some type of patriot to anywhere, really. Yeah, so I'm African. So when I come to Kenya, I come to home, I come to connect with my brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? And anywhere I go, Zanzibar, South Africa, anywhere we go, I mean, Ethiopia, that's just the thing, you know, to connect or reconnect, as I should say.
So I have a question. You just brought this to my mind. So we did a tour years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Took the eye forward to Shashamane.
Yes, I.
Just please reflect on the moment when you touched down and you seen elders that repatriated from 20, 30 years ago that lived the mission. They're rough over there still, but they still live and push on through. But I just remember being there in that moment, wishing that we could have captured it. So I want you to reflect on that moment when you got to see the elders who took up the banner and said, "We are go forward."
Yeah, that was emotional and that was heavy. You know, I mean, it was an extremely heavy moment. A lot of them left Jamaica, they were already poor people, you know. So going to Ethiopia for them was about selling everything they had. It was about selling their cars, their houses, any little small thing they had, you know what I mean? And they put all that money together to go to Ethiopia, which it's a new frontier. So it's not like you know what you're gonna get. You don't know, you know what I mean? So they go, they get set up, but the struggle is there, you know what I mean? And for the most part, a lot of them they didn't run back to Jamaica crying, you know. So you have to respect that. But when I got through that HQ gate and I saw them, it was crazy for me because they brought me up. You know, they brought me up. They taught me all the stuff that I'm singing in this music. So when I see them there, it's kind of crazy. If you remember the guy that made the banner, I ended up having that banner made for my son, who was being born basically at the same time. Yeah, and that virgin, he was called Dirty Judah in Jamaica. He lived in the back of the HQ, one little setup thing, like, just some little cardboard and thing. And King Kong, one of the artists, the great artists out there, big up to King Kong. Everybody know who King Kong is, I think. He came to Jamaica and he brought that virgin, he bought him ticket, everything, brought him to Ethiopia, said him, because that was his dream. But when I saw him, he was in a very poor state, you know what I mean? So that was heartbreaking for me. But he said to me, yo, let me give thanks still, because if anything, I'm up on the land already. Because that's one of the visions or the things that the elders always say. Even if they go to Ethiopia and they struggle or they die in Ethiopia, at least they die already home because they want their soul to be there. You know what I mean? So it was really, beautiful but heavy experience. And also, remember we went to the school with my auntie and my uncle at the back, at the back of the HQ. That was a very traumatizing experience because, my uncle, which was somebody that from Jamaica, which was a very, stern Rasta man. He don't give way, you know what I mean? And then when I saw him, he was like a butterfly. He was so calm and, so that was a shock to me. It was beautiful. And then my auntie, the energy was different, you know what I mean? So that was also a shock as well, you know what I mean? So it's huge. It's emotional things. These are things that people don't even know about artists, you know, but these are the things that revolve in our systems, in our souls, you know, while we write songs. It's not that when you write a conscious song, people think that, oh, he's so conscious or he knows everything. That's not it, you know. It's just that we're trying to find our way, and by finding our way, we've been blessed with an ability to find our way with you, you know, the listener or the viewer coming on the ride, and so when I find it, or if I do find it, then it also helps you to find it as well. You know what I mean? So it's a journey. So that was a journey for me, a massive, massive moment in life to go to Ethiopia and experience that. Give thanks, Laffy, and big up Yadi as well. You know,
Yeah, big up Yadi.
You know what I mean? Every
You're
time.
working, bro. Don't
Yeah,
worry
man.
yourself.
So you don't know. Yeah, it's just a journey, man.
Last question before we move on. What is your musical mission?
You know, I don't have a musical mission. You know, I have a man mission. I am a man be put here by the Most High, so it must be that I have a purpose. You know, so my younger days was I spent that trying to find that. As you know, I used to do law and all that stuff, work for a law firm, and so
Interesting, y'all both have law backgrounds.
yeah, I love that. When I was younger, I was fascinated by the way how you could be wrong and still win. You know what I mean? Perry Mason, you know, Matlock, that stuff was like me every day. So, you know, so that was a journey. And then I played football at a very high level in school. So that was also, I was like, yo, I'm going to play for Liverpool or Real Madrid. And then I had bad injuries and I went through depression trying to get to school in the US. You know, so it was a lot of things, you know what I mean, that formed, you know, this journey that I have. So now I look at it like, you know, it's just life. I'm just living life. And God blessed me with music and I can express myself in a certain way and it helps, it touches people. So what better that, you know what I mean, I give thanks for it, you know what I mean? Yeah, man.
Yes, I have a question that came to my mind just now for Tippy. Reflect on working with the late great Von Benjamin Akibeka, please, because you know you was with the man. You came with him forward to Nairobi some years ago, and I know enough of us in the room was there at that show.
Yes,
it was straight vibes and fire. But just give us like a little insight what it was being around such a prolific creator of great article foundation music.
True.
Yeah,
man. I was blessed to work with Von. Still working with Von. So for 25 years or so, you know, in 2000, the year 2000, 2001 is where we first started to link up. And, you know, he, his works and his legacy catalog of songs sparked a lot of labels around the world, really, but especially on St. Croix, a lot of production houses. You know, me, myself, I was just a producer who loved to make beats in my apartment living in East Harlem at the time.
Shout to New York.
Big up New York City. Von heard one of these rhythms that I did with a brethren named Danny Dredd in Richmond, St. Croix, and he voiced it, not in my presence. And the song ended up on the radio in St. Croix. The song is called If I Betray. It's on the album Nemo Zion Rasta. So from that point on, changed the course of my life. You know, as you heard, as we spoke on, I had a law background and was doing, I was an adjunct professor at Columbia at the time. And music just draw me in. This work with Von Benjamin, with Midnight I-grade collaborations, later on works of Aki Beka, about 13 albums on the I-grade label that we did together, and many more that we recorded together for other labels. So serious journey, amazing experience. Here in Kenya in 2017, I had the honor to be accompany Aki Beka band with Von Benjamin on a tour of Africa. We went to Ivory Coast and Nairobi, Kenya. So that experience was kind of like encapsulated what the mission of the work was about. It wasn't just about songs. Von wasn't an entertainer. Von wasn't, I wouldn't even put the term artist or none of these usual terms because it's fully all-encompassing. For all of we really, this is not just for Von. For anybody who takes this music serious on a level, it becomes encompassing. So I learned that. I learned a lot of urgency from Vaughn. You see his prolificness, how many songs the man put out, and so many songs not even released.
You got the archives.
Yeah, man, it's an amazing legacy. Scrolls, you know, scrolls for the future. So, yeah, man, give thanks.
All right, so we're gonna cut to Hella Go Pop, one of the latest tracks by Micah. Who's producer on that track?
Producers Irie Ice.
Irie Ice. Where they out of?
They're from France.
France. Big up to them.
Big up Irie Ice for sure.
Liberians.
Nigerians. They're the composers of the track.
Okay, so this tune has just dropped. Hella Go Pop, Micah Shemaiah. We're back on African Herbs Man. This is Pwani Viungo, the podcast, with a very, 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 very special episode shot here in Nairobi with the brothers Tippy I and Micah Shemaiah. We're going to wrap it up real quick. I just want to get any parting shots from the brothers, any words of wisdom to the youths of Kenya, music-wise, anything. Just let us, anything you want to say.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I would say His Majesty Haile Selassie I reminded us that you should always do a little more than you think you can do to see your true limits, your true potential in life. So to all the youths in Kenya, push yourself beyond what you think you can do in the works, in balance, in helpful works for humanity, in works that you love to do. You know, like Vaughn say, love the life you live and live the life you love. Big up.
Micah?
I would say give thanks, give thanks for just being strong, you know what I mean? Because we come from the West. I come from a poor background in Jamaica, but the West was still afforded all the amenities, as they would call it, for civilized life. And in some part of history, Africa, Kenya, was so-called left behind, you know what I mean? But now, basically for me, you're ahead, so I have to really big up the Kenyan people and the African people, Respect.
Right. So how can people find you on your social media handles, YouTube channels, those things?
Yeah, I Grade Records, look that up. Look up Tippy I Grade on Instagram, you'll find the works. Also Zion I Kings on Spotify or wherever you get your music.
Yeah, Micah Shemaiah music, anywhere, Micah Shemaiah, you know what I mean? People have a problem sometimes to spell it, so MICAH SHEMAIAH, and yeah, man, it works. And just any conscious music, just find conscious music. If you're trying to find conscious music and music to uplift your soul, then you'll find my music there, yeah? Blessings.
Bless. This is Pwani Viungo, the podcast. Big up to the Nomadic Rasta. We're about to ride out with Run Things by the great Micah Shemaiah. Give thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, I.
Big up, bro.
Respect,
yeah? Love and honor, bro.
Yeah. Run Things, Micah Shemaiah. Pwani Viungo, the podcast, Coastal Spice, everything nice.